Alright guys, welcome to another video, and in this video I just want to give you a quick tip. Most people are wondering if the kind of printer head they use is refurbished or not, and in this video I just want to quickly answer that question. Is your printer head a refurbished printer head? Well, there's a quick way to know. XP600 grew in notoriety from what you can almost call a Chinese creativity. And what they discovered was that this brand of printer head seemingly could work if they developed a kind of board for it. And that's exactly what they eventually did. And they were able to get a board that runs this. Now, this printer head was not invented by them, however. This printer head belongs to Epson. Epson is the one that creates these printer heads. Until today, it's almost the best kept secret in the world because, as you will see in the process of this video, it's really difficult to contact Epson to get this printer head by yourself. I've got a couple of people who said, well, they contacted Epson and they sold it to them. I contacted them later and they said, well, they were not able to get through to Epson. So I hope I eventually do get across to Epson one day. That's one of my dreams for starting out this channel, figuring out things that people probably might not be able to figure out. But hopefully I'll be able to dig into it. Now, like I said, Epson does these printer heads. So ideally, the name of this printer head is called Epson XP600. Now, majority of the printer heads you buy that are called printer heads, especially when they look this way, sorry to say, are not the original XP600 printer head. Actually, they're not. One way to know the original XP600 is that you're going to have an Epson logo here, as in this image. So currently, this printer head does not have an Epson logo. What that tells you is that this printer head, it's most likely a refurbished printer head. It's not even most likely. This is a refurbished printer head. The original XP600 printer heads come with a logo, an Epson logo. It's a dazzling looking logo like that. It's usually round about half an inch by half an inch, and it sits exactly at this center here, like in this image. But this one, however, where did they get it from? Okay, most of these printer heads, because China is an extremely industrious country, they get the printer heads directly from Epson, and then these printer heads mostly are used printer heads, and they have some methods of cleaning them up and then selling it back into the market as new. But trust me, most of them don't even hide the fact anymore. If you ask them if the printer head you are buying is refurbished, they're going to answer you with the affirmative yes, that it is a refurbished printer head. Right now, to the big question, is that the reason why my XP600 printer head does not last long? Absolutely yes. And I won't blame them for any reason at all. I'll give you an example. If you eventually do find through the vendors, because there are certain vendors that sell original XP600 printer heads. In fact, they'll make a show of it by telling you that it does have this logo, but it's still, you still have to buy it through China. Most of the time you really can't get Epson to sell any one of these to you. I don't know why. Maybe because it's in their printers, whatever it is, I don't know. Maybe they don't have that kind of OEM facility with other people. I don't know why. I honestly don't know why. But you could always get this from the original printer head from the Chinese. I sell original printer heads, by the way. But you can get the original one. It has an XP600 logo. This is why I said I can't blame them. That printer head is sold for almost 3 times the amount you buy this one for. That one is sold for about 450 from the start. I've not even added any profit or anything. Whereas if you go, it depends on who you talk to, you might get this one for about $140 US. In fact, I think there's some places in the United States you can even get these kinds of printer head for $50 US. For scrap. I have a couple of my friends in the US that say they can just buy a scrap printer head for 50 USD and find out. Some of them find out and it works for them. Some of them it just comes dead right out of the bat. But that's pretty much it. This printer head is not the original XP600 printer head, and every time you buy it, you know you are buying a used printer head or a defective printer head that they are selling to you. And so that's why once in a while you buy a printer head and it just doesn't work right after the bat, and you've done everything you can. I'm not talking about a situation whereby you made a mistake with your printer head, you didn't install it well, any of those other cases. No, this is a case of where you've done everything you can, you are absolutely sure you did everything you can, but it didn't work. That's why. But trust me, all refurbished printer heads work well. As far as I'm concerned, I have never used an original XP600 printer head on my machine, and they work freaking well. I mean, at times my printer head can last for more than 6 to like a year or something, you know, especially when you know what to do to make your printer heads last longer, right? So that's like the gist of like everything I'm about to tell you. That once your XP600, check your XP600 printer head. If it does not have this logo, then you do not have the original XP600. But please don't panic. You have been using you have been using the refurbished XP600 printer head all your life, and it has not bothered you. I only told you this so that you can at least know that you don't have the original XP600 printer head, and that probably might settle some questions in your heart. But please go ahead and buy it. It doesn't change anything, right? If you're in Nigeria, even $140 is a lot of money to you, right? And then I don't even sell it for $140 because even the sellers will not sell it to you for $140. They will be buying it for $140 and then they will be retailing it to you at a certain other price, and I also would be retailing it to you at another price, right? So because you have to factor shipping and every other thing like that into the equation. So before you even get the person that will sell it to you for $140, you would do you would try. So it's very hard to get somebody to sell it for $140. But I'm telling you this like kind of like an inside information or what to look out for. So don't think about the price. Really, you're not going to get at that price. I said, really never going to work. So, but I'm only showing you price comparison between the original and the refurbished. It's not fake, by the way. They are good printer heads. They work most of the time. If you already have a trusted vendor for printer heads, I think you just stick with them. Now, as an added bonus to this video, I'm going to teach you something you can do, you know, to prolong the life of your printer head. Now, in the next video I'm going to show you the architecture of this one more time. I've done the video before, but I think I have a bit more understanding now that I might probably shed some more light on things you really didn't look at in the past. Now, if you look at this printer head, it's majorly this plastic, which is the funnel, right? And then this electronic component. Now, the electronic component is really what does the printing for you. I've explained that before. I'll explain it again in the next video. So if this is an electronic component, if that's the major the thing that does the work for you in your printer head, then this is one way you could help the printer head most of the time. You see, when you're done printing, turn off the machine. When you turn off the machine, what you do is you cool off this plastic, this electronic component. You cool it off. If you know you're not a very heavy printer, if you don't print a lot, right? Once you're done with your printer, shut it down, keep it off. Make sure the machine is cooler than it is hot. When electronics heat up, what really happens is you have a lot of electron shake. That is, electrons are moving at a very frequent speed. It is this moving of electrons that you call electric signals. Of course, it's the same moving of electrons that you call electronic signals. Now, if you turn off your machine, you keep those electronic signals in place. They're not moving. They're not doing anything. If it is susceptible to a damage, it will only happen while the machine is on and the electrons are firing. If you turn it off, however, because electron states don't stay where they are, they move. If, say, your printer head was supposed to have a fault at that particular state where it was, when you turn off your machine, electron states don't remain the same. So once you turn it off, by the time you turn it on again, the states of those electrons will move to another place. So which means, if suppose you were knocking at a certain door and you kept knocking, after a while that door begins to get weak, and it gets weaker and weaker and weaker, and soon enough, you punch it one more time, it's going to break up and then puncture a hole into that spot. But if you stop at that point and then come back the next day and knock another section of the wall, you're back again at the very solid wall And for as long as you keep knocking different random walls, your wall stays the same. That's exactly the picture I'm trying to paint for you. If you turn off your machine regularly, you change the electron state of your board. That is this green board over here. You change the electron state of it. And so the chances that it will spoil is prolonged. I'm not telling you theory. I've done it over and over and over again. You know, it was one time I used to have very short lifespan printer heads. I've been lucky with 7 days before to tell you how bad it was. So, but I knew a little bit about electronics. I'm not an electronic engineer, but I just know there's some things you just know, right? So I then started turning off my machine more. If I wasn't using it, I would just turn it off. If I wasn't using it, I would just turn it off. And I began to see that the life of the printer had begun to prolong beyond 5 months. The last one was even 8 months. The current one is already 6 months. So it does something, right? And I've seen it happen in the past. Because I had to keep using the machine almost every time, I had issues with it, and the lifespan, you know, was shorter and shorter and shorter. Why? Because of wear and tear. Heating is the most difficult thing to deal with when it comes to electronics. You know, as long as it starts to heat, it has a problem. You understand? So if you cool it off, it'll get better. And of course, that should answer the question, why is a DX5 or a Ricoh head or an i3200 extremely expensive and the XP600 is not? I'll give you an example. The i3200, I sold it the last time for almost $1,500. No, wait. That's about $923. Or maybe $975 or something that I sold it to the customer. So if you then wonder why is that $950 and then the XP600 is like less than 200, maybe max $250, which would be the retail price I'm going to sell it to you. If that is the case, then how come the price difference? Well, the price difference is always going to be the electronic difference. The electronic architecture of the i3200 and the DX5 is clearly not the same with the XP600. And that's why XP600 does not really absorb all of that rigor. And this is the last tip I'm going to give to you. Remember I said something about Epson being the makers of this printer head. Well, I did a bit of digging and I discovered that these printer heads were meant for water-based printing, not eco-solvent printing. So you are using a printer head that ought to be used for water-based printing. You're using it for eco-solvent printing. So if something is supposed to be used for water-based printing, you use it for eco-solvent, you're making a chemical change that is actually phenomenal. Eco-solvent is a solvent. Water is not always a solvent. In all cases, it's not always a solvent. Yes, it's a solvent in that it can dissolve things, but not at the rate which eco-solvent can do its own. Eco-solvent is harsher and quicker. Water is slower. So the chances are, if you use this printer head for water-based printing, you may have a longer lifespan for your XP600 printer heads. So that's pretty much what I want to show you today. This is a refurbished XP600 printer head. It is not the original. How do you know the original? It usually has this logo somewhere here, like in this image. So don't panic. It's what you've always used. So you already have anywhere from 6 months to 3 years or 5 years or 10 years experience with it. This video is not that video where you trash your XP600 printer head. But this video is that added video that gives you an idea, okay, this is really what goes on under my printer head. So that pretty much is it. I hope it has helped you. If it has, I want you to leave a comment in the section below. If there's something I missed, something I ought to have said, maybe somewhere I made a mistake, you can always quote it in the comment section there so that other persons can learn from some of these experiences we're having. This channel is about the experiences I've had with that large format machine, and I'm so glad that experience has helped a lot of people. I'm going to beg you, however, that we have a membership on this channel. I'm preparing a very special package for my membership, for people who have joined my membership. They are going to have perks like softwares they can use, plugins that they get for free, CorelDRAW plugins that they get for free, the economic side of the business, the intelligence side of the business, so many other perks that you are not going to get if you stay as a free member. I don't have a problem with it if you stay as a free member. You are a blessing to me, and you remain a blessing to me. But if there's a way you can upgrade to the membership, I will be absolutely glad. And trust me, in time, you will not regret your decision to be a member on this channel. Till we meet again, this is still me trying to make sure I solve the problems that arises with your machine. Thank you so much, and have a lovely day. See ya. Bye.